Welcome back to another episode of Lubinski's Daily Dose. I'm Jim Lubinski, endurance sport coach, former professional triathlete, former professional ice hockey player, strength coach, all around good guy, you name it, that's what I am. So, hey, here we go. Great responses after the first two episodes, so thank you for tuning in. Thanks for leaving comments, leaving questions. Abel Aguilar just asked for the stretch cords link, so Abel, look forward to be getting stronger and better at swimming by doing those stretch cords. So I shared that in the YouTube comments. So if you guys are looking for that playlist of all those stretch cords workouts, that's in that YouTube playlist. So keep the comments, keep the questions coming. I really appreciate that, guys. Really, really awesome to see that interaction. That's what I want to do. Keep building that community. So one thing I want to talk about today, we did a ride this morning and it was called Reach, Adapt, Get Fast. Last night I was reading the book Winning by Tim Grover. And look at me, I'm going somewhere with this, all right? Because in Winning, I read one page a night. That's what I do, right? I have one page, fall asleep, boom, done. So it takes me a year to read a book. But hey, that one page I really absorbed that information. So in the book last night, he was talking about Michael Jordan and how when Michael won a championship back in the 90s, that was the heyday. That was the heyday of the Bulls. That was when I was in high school, those formative years. It was awesome summers when all that was going down with the Bulls in the 90s. They won the 6 championships. But when Michael would win the championship, he wouldn't just say, "Oh, I'm happy with this championship." As soon as he hoisted that trophy, he would start looking to next year, and he'd start saying, "How am I going to better myself next year? How am I going to add on volume? How am I going to add on fitness? How am I going to become a better basketball player next year going into that next season to win another championship?" Because I think a lot of times we have success, whether it's a PR, a podium. When I became a professional ice hockey player, when I became a professional triathlete, we had this success, and we kind of say, I got here. Let me just maintain what I've been doing, and that should be good enough. But the problem is when we get that success, when we win, when we achieve that goal, all of a sudden, boom, we have all these other goals we want to achieve, and we can't just spin our wheels and be complacent in the way we were doing things. We kind of have to reinvent ourselves and become better athletes, better humans, better at the activity that we're undertaking. So let's take it out of sport. Let's go to when I was in Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Moved out to California in 2005. I started working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And I said, you know what? I'm humbling myself. I was a professional ice hockey player, playing in front of thousands of fans, signing autographs, and now I'm working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car in the back of a body shop where there's a dog that's the dirtiest dog I've ever seen. The owner of the dog would power wash the dog to get him clean. This thing was so dirty. You pet him and your hand would be black afterwards. But I'm working in the back of this auto body shop and I really had to check my ego. And I had to say, if I'm going to do this job, I'm going to be the best enterprise rent-a-car employee I could be. I'm going to climb the ranks as fast as possible to climb the ranks. I ended up being the fastest person to take the grill, which is the test to become a manager. I became the first fastest assistant manager, fast as a manager. I really committed to being the best I could be. I was never complacent in the area I was in. Back up to when I was a professional ice hockey player. I played junior ice hockey in Bismarck, North Dakota. I always wanted to be the best. I played Division One ice hockey in Fairfield, Connecticut. I always was striving to be better day in and day out. I became a professional ice hockey player and I went to Fort Worth, Texas. And I said, you know what? I'm getting paid to play. And I started living the pro life. I started going out. I started partying. I started having fun with friends. Instead of committing to being the best I could be day in and day out, I started living this complacent life. And Fort Worth was a double-A ice hockey team, right? They weren't the greatest and it wasn't the lowest. It wasn't the highest. We had AAA above that. Then we had the NHL. So I had a ways to go. I could have really applied myself and committed to being the best athlete I could be day in and day out, but I became complacent, right? So I think that goes hand in hand with what we do. You go into a race and you have a PR. You go into a race and you podium. You go into a race, you have a win. You qualify for Kona. And a lot of athletes out there say, I qualify for Kona. That's all I want to achieve. And then they go to Kona and they walk the run, right? These athletes are finishing in 8.5, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is to qualify for Kona. And then they say, I qualified and I'm just going to spin my wheels. You want to do well at Kona, you got to heat adapt. You got to get strong, work in the wind, get resilient for the conditions. It takes a ton of training to adapt to the stress of Kona. I work with a lot of celebrity athletes or celebrities who want to be athletes, right? And I get intimate in their lives. I know what it takes. I find out what it takes to be who they are, right? And it's not just luck, it's not just knowing the right people. It's their mentality of never sitting still, their mentality of always wanting to be better, always opening themselves to opportunities, always seeing where they can grow as actors, radio personalities, Oscar hosts, athletes, whatever it may be. You don't see behind the scenes as the aggression with which they attack life, the aggression with which they attack their undertakings. I like to call this whole aspect chasing the beast, right? The beast is success, the beast is winning. And once you grasp that win, all of a sudden it becomes further, right? It's like, okay, I have to go get that win again. Where's the beast? You go and you grab the beast again. Then he slips out of your hands. You go and grab the beast again. Then he slips out of your hands. So, what does it take for you to keep reinventing yourself to chase that beast, to attain that beast, to find that beast again, grab that beast again? Where's Sasquatch? Where's Sasquatch? We got a photo of him. He disappears. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where do I have to go? Where corner of the earth do I have to go to find Sasquatch now? I grab him. He disappears again. That's winning, right? Look at a CEO of a company. CEO rises the ranks. He's hungry. He wants to be better. He wants to be better. Then he becomes a CEO and he says, you know what? I made it to the top. Now I'm just going to spin my wheels. If he wants to succeed, make money for his investors, make money for the company, he's got to keep growing. He's got to keep building. He's got to keep a smart mind and a creative mind, right? If he just spins his wheels and did what he was doing in the past, he's going to stay where he was in the past. There's going to be no growth. So getting back to the workout we did this morning on the bike, reach, adapt, get fast. We're always reaching to new heights. We adapt to those new heights. We get faster. Then we do it again. We reach, we adapt, we get fast. We reach, we adapt, we get fast, right? We keep repeating this process, always getting stronger, always getting faster, always reinventing ourselves to become a better athlete, a better human, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it may be. We can't just rest on our laurels. Laurel's my sister-in-law. I can use her name in that and just says, hey, don't rest on, I don't know what that means by me saying that, but don't rest on your laurels. Don't be complacent. Don't just say, I've attained success. I'm fine here. I'm just going to keep that success. It's not possible. Me becoming an ice hockey player, I reached a pretty high level where I was getting paid, and I thought that what I did in the past was just going to maintain me being there, and it didn't. I didn't have success. I was complacent, and I was just an average professional ice hockey player when there was more in the tank. I turned professional triathlete in 2009 from a pretty quick career as an amateur. I progressed through the ranks of amateur. I won a few races, and I said, you know what? I'm going to compete against the best. I'm going to go against the professionals when I have as soon as I had the opportunity in 2009 when I won Vineman 70.3. So I did it, and I love to challenge myself, but I kept training as if I was an amateur. I had a successful career. I had a lot of podiums at Ironman 70.3 events. I won a lot of races over the years, but I never really realized my potential because I didn't apply myself the way a professional should be applying themselves, where they're reaching, adapting, getting faster. They're changing the way they're approaching the training. So if you're having some type of success, or you're just looking for that success, if you're looking for that beast, guys, we got to think, how can you attain that beast? And then you do it and you have success. Jared Lee, David Y had success at Lake Placid last weekend. But we're not happy, right? We'll recover, and then we're going to start to reinvent themselves as to how are we going to better ourselves going into the next race, right? We're not just complacent with how we perform. David, I talked about him last, and it seems like I only have two athletes because I spoke about him, but I speak about David a lot because he's the epitome of what we're talking about here. He's 70 years old. He won his age group in Lake Placid by half hour, like I said on the last episode. But every race he learns, he debriefs, he gets that experiential wisdom, which is something we're going to talk about in the future. And then he takes that wisdom and he builds off it. He learns from it. He betters himself because of it. And then he just keeps making advancements. 70 years old, he's racing faster and stronger than he ever has, and he's just demolishing his age group. So, I'm kind of beating the dead horse here, but this is something that really is truly extremely important, and you see the best of the best doing it. And it's hard, guys. It's hard to keep pushing. It's hard to keep reinventing yourself. It's hard to think outside the box as to how can I be better than I am right now? I'm pretty damn good right now. I beat the whole field. I became a professional. I'm CEO. Just got promoted. Maybe you just got promoted at your job. Are you going to keep doing what you're doing when you're an assistant or when you're a manager, a director, or now that you're president, vice president, CEO, how are you going to up your game and reach, adapt, and get faster, get better, get stronger, get more successful? So you got to keep chasing the beast. You got to stay hungry. You got to keep looking for ways you can advance, because as soon as you attain that success, boom, there's another level. There's another benchmark that you're going to have to go chase. When I was a pharmaceutical sales rep back in 2009, 2010, right when I turned professional triathlete, I was doing sales. I was selling zit cream, right? People get zit. I showed up. Boom, here I am. Zit cream. Put it on that zit. It'll dry it out. You have a comedone, an open comedone, a closed comedone. See Lubinski. He's got my my buddies called it the lotion mobile. I drove this minivan around, this black minivan, tinted windows. We party in there all the time. I had my bike, all my swim gear in there. It was full of sand. Oh yeah, I had to work too occasionally, but I drive the lotion mobile to office selling zit medicine. And I was doing really well, right? I always hit my quotas, but the problem was every time you hit a quota, you had success. Yeah, I made the bonus. I had the trip to Barbados, wherever the hell you went for the success. The next year, the company would say, "Okay, here's the next quota," and it was head and tail higher, right? So they were saying, "Okay, you hit that. Now you got to hit this. Now you got to hit this." It was always getting higher, always getting higher, and I looked at it as a bad thing, but now looking back at it, I say that's a great thing. It was challenging me. It was saying, hey, you did well now. Now you should do even better. Now you should do even better. So you're never resting on those laurels. So don't be complacent. Reach, adapt, get fast, chase the beast, attain the beast, chase the beast again, attain the beast. Never be happy that you got one beast. You always want another one. You always want another one. You always want another one. Be Michael Jordan, be Kobe Bryant, be Dwayne Wade. These elite athletes who had a ton of money, a ton of success, a ton of championships, but they were never happy. They finished one and they said, how do I get better to attain another one? How do I get better to attain another one? So keep chasing the beast. Have fun doing it. Think outside the box. If you have ways that you've chased the beast and you've become better, put it in the comments. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave comments on Spotify. Follow the show on Spotify. Follow the show on Apple iTunes. Tell your friends about it. And we're going to keep coming at you with great stuff, guys. So hopefully you're enjoying these. Keep chasing the beast. And if you have a comment as to how you chase the beast, or how you can better chase the beast, or how you can get better, ask a question. We'll get it answered on the next show. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you're getting a lot out of these. And race hard. Love you guys. Bye.